So we have UFC Fight Night coming up. We have Rozenstruik versus Sakai. Fun night of fights here on the card. We're gonna start off with the first fight here in the main card. It's gonna be a middleweight bout between Tom Breeze versus Antonio Arroyo. These are two guys that are definitely coming up. How do you feel about this fight, Robert? Do you have any predictions on it?
I think Tom Breeze by decision. I see him grinding this fight out. He's going to be a lot careful since he got submitted his last time. People tend to be more relaxed, I guess. They tend to drag it out into a decision after coming to a loss. They're more careful coming after a loss. So that's what I think.
And I agree with that assessment. Yeah, I think you both are right with the Tom Breeze winning that fight. I think he's gonna be more cautious. He's definitely gonna take this fight into consideration, knowing that he can be on a 2-fight losing streak, and he's gonna try and grind it out, get that decision win in 3 rounds. But that kind of brings us to our next fight here. So we have in the welterweight division, kind of a guy who's been up there for a minute now, in Santiago Panzarino. He's a really tough guy. He's one of those guys that string in wins, but then kind of gets that one loss, knocks him down.
Yeah.
He's going against a guy who's undefeated right now, 10-0, and Miguel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but it's Beza, I think.
Man, he is nasty, man. I got to talk about him. He's coming out of Florida, and he's raised by a Puerto Rican family, and I'm Puerto Rican, so I'm definitely leaning to him winning this fight. His opponent is going to be tough, though, because he's a veteran for sure. He did take a break from 2018 to 2020, though, a 2-year layoff due to injury, I believe. I think he had like heart surgery. It was something big, yeah. And then he came back a few months back, and he lost to TKO by Jing Hong, I believe it was.
Yeah, Li Jingling.
That's what it was. Yeah, first round TKO with like a second left in the round. So I see him losing again.
I agree, because I think Beza is just gonna keep it on the ground. I think he's gonna outwork him, just keep him on the ground, turn into a submission match. I have Miguel Beza winning.
Yeah, this is one of those interesting fights too, because you got two guys that, I mean, I kind of look at like their last fights to see like who they beat, just kind of give them a little bit more credibility. And the guy you guys are raving about, Miguel, he fought Matt Brown, who's a tough guy. I mean, he doesn't really get knocked out, and he
put him away.
He put him away, so that's pretty impressive. And Santiago just got knocked out. Typically, when you come back from a knockout, your chin's not really there. Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think Miguel's going to take this fight and go 11-0 in the UFC.
I do have to do my research more on Santiago, right?
Santiago.
I do believe he did have like some type of surgery. He was out from 2018 to 2020, and it was big because he was killing it. He was like in an 8-fight winning streak, or something crazy like that before he left on that big surgery. So he was being talked about, like, maybe coming up for a belt fight here anytime soon, and then he had to go away for that surgery. And then he came back, lost in the first round, TKO. So does that mean that he's out the fight game? Of course not. I think it's going to be a good fight. I actually think the fight's going to go to decision, but I do think Miguel is going to win.
It's a pretty good assessment. I mean, I couldn't agree more. But then again, that brings us to our next fight here in the middleweight division. Kind of two guys getting their feet wet in the UFC here. We have Roman Gullides versus Laureano Strapoli. This is another really good fight. How do you see this one playing out, Robert?
Damn. I'm not too sure about this one. What do you guys have?
I have Roman winning this. He's coming off a loss to Trevin Giles. He's fighting Loreno, who's lost to Tim Mean. So, I mean, it's kind of even, but I feel like Roman if he just keeps it like, he's got his striking's a little bit better, but his grappling is better. And I tend to lean towards the guy that's better on the ground. Mm-hmm. I see him, I don't know, I haven't been shown anything promising from Loreno. He seems like he's still a little young in the game, a little green in the game, kind of soft. Striking is good, but I don't think it's going to be able to put away someone like Roman. I have Roman winning this. Once again, I have it more on the grappling side of the fight, if it's going to be more like a grappling match, but I have him getting a decision win on this one.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with you there. This is going to be a really tough fight. I mean, when I look at this fight standing up, I think Roman's the overall better striker, but I do think Laureano has more of the knockout power. So that being said, I mean, I think Laureano can put him away, but with Roman's better striking and his overall better ground grappling game, I think he has more tools to take this fight. But Laureano's no joke, man. I think he's one of those guys, once he starts stringing things together, kind of gets in the game a little bit longer, he's going to be definitely one of those guys to look out for. I say this with all due respect. I mean, I think he's one of those guys right now. He just doesn't have it all figured out.
That's what I'm saying.
But once it clicks for him, he's definitely going to be one of those guys that can be fighting for the title.
Title?
Yeah, I think he's going to be up there. I think eventually he'll be up there. Not anytime soon, but once he puts things together, once he strings it in, he'll be nice.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
That's my dark horse right there.
So you have Loreno winning then on this one, or you have?
No, I have Roma winning this fight, but I'm saying Loreno in the future, he's gonna put things together. Yeah, keep an eye on this guy.
You heard it here, folks.
You heard it here. What is he right now? He's 9-3, right? So you're saying he's gonna lose. You're saying he's going to lose this fight, so he's 9-4. So his record's not looking too good. So another loss or two, he might be out the UFC now.
That's true. He's one of those guys, though. He's pretty young. I think Dana signed him with the knowledge of like he's one of those guys that are not going to be fighting for the title soon. He's just one of those guys that are coming in. We want to test the waters. And if you look at his last fights, I mean, even the fights that he loses, he's not getting blown away. He's in every single fight. He's just a little green in certain areas. But like I said, his striking's real nice. Once he kind of gets that grappling game figured out, he's gonna be a problem. But you're right, Robert. I mean, a couple losses tried together, that could definitely kick him out. But maybe that's not a bad thing necessarily. There's some other good promotions out there where he could make some noise, come back in. A lot of people have done that in the past.
For sure.
Keep an eye out on this guy though, because I think he's definitely one of those guys to look out for in the future.
We'll do.
All right.
But with that being said, now we have the co-main event in the heavyweight division. Walt Big Ticket Harris versus Marcin Tybura. I don't know how I feel about this.
This is gonna be a good one, man. I like this.
How do you feel about this, Richard?
Walt's coming off of a 2-fight losing streak. We know what that's like. We've seen what that's like for fighters. There's no doubt about he's gonna come out hard. Of course, he's trying to break this streak. I think that's gonna give him enough fuel. But Tybura was coming off of a 3-fight win streak. So this dude's on fire too.
Yeah, for sure. I think what you said about Harris is completely right. He's gonna come out guns blazing, just like Woodley did. And then it's gonna be the same thing, same result that happened to Woodley. I think he's gonna get TKO in the first round quick. I see it happening in like maybe 3 minutes into the first round. Maybe even sooner, to be honest. I just don't have much belief in Harris. I honestly thought he could have been kicked out the UFC after his last fight. But he's still here. So just put all your money on Harris losing TKO first.
And before you chime into this, Robert took the words out of my mouth because I think the same thing. I think Walt's going to come out bringing heat, but I think he's going to get slept. Tybura to me just has the heavy hands, man. I see guns blazing, and I just feel like that's a bad combination. When you come out with that intensity against a guy that has heavy hands, and that's exactly how Walt lost his last fight too.
That is exactly,
it's the exact same way, and I just don't see it being any different against a guy at this caliber.
I would say this: when it comes to gambling or sports betting, when everyone leans so much to the under, let's think about the over. Since we're saying he's going to come out guns blazing, what if he doesn't? What if he learns from his mistakes? And what if he uses the wrestling skill that he does have and starts wrestling with him and dragging the fight into decision and play it smart and get his victory and, stay in the UFC? Because I honestly believe if he loses this fight by TKO, he's really out of the UFC. So he could come on and be like, yo, my job is on the line, and go with like, let me go and knock this guy out, or my job's on the line and let me win this fight by decision. So you got to look at it that way as well.
And that's the way I'm looking at analysis. I just think that's valid and all, but with it being in the heavyweight division, especially these two guys, I just don't think they're decision guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they have the gas tank for it. But I can definitely see Walt taking that path too. I just think the first one we talked about, Robert, I think that's the way it's going to end. I just think it's going to be a first round KO. Maybe Walt catches Tybura, but I just see Tybura hitting him with a heavy shot, putting him away early, and
I don't know, man. Like
good night, Iran. From there,
if Harris plays this right, I feel like he's like the bigger dude. He's gonna out wrestle him, get him tired, and just grind it out.
And that could happen too.
That could happen to Tybura. I think it's happened to him in the past.
I'm gonna lean with what I originally said, TKO first round Harris, but I could see
Robert, I don't see confidence at all when you're saying that. He's like,
well, also the over 1.5 is plus 140, so that's actually good too. All they have to do is survive a round and a half. Which you guys don't think it'll happen?
Hey,
yes, sir.
This fight night card, definitely keep a lookout on that co-main event heavyweight fight,
because
it's gonna be a fun one where a lot of things could change and a lot of things can happen. But with all that being said, now we have the main event, the heavyweight main event here with, I don't even know how to say his first name. Is it Jairzinho?
Oh yeah, I'm not really. Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
Rozenstruik versus Augusto Sakai. Now, this is a fight that I'm super excited for because
also the under on this one.
Because I think Rozenstruik he's a dog. I think the Ngannou fight kind of put him in a bad highlight reel knockout, and it kind of like put a little bit on his name on the bad, kind of swing on the bad side of things. But I think Rozenstruik's nasty, man.
He is, bro.
And I think Sakai is a perfect guy to get just pieced up by him too. Sakai is a monster. Don't get me wrong. I love Sakai, but Rozenstruik, man, if he hits you, you're out.
But what about his last fight?
Against
he's coming off a decision loss to
who did he lose
believe
to?
it was it Gane?
Yeah, Cyril Gane. Which
Cyril
is perfectly
Gane.
fine because Cyril Gane is one of the guys on my he's one of my like fighters to watch for in 2021. I don't want to count that as a bad loss either because Cyril Gane is an animal.
Okay.
He's a specimen.
But it wasn't a bad loss, but it was a bad fight.
Yeah.
But
Cyril Gane
underperformed.
Cyril Gane is one of those guys in the heavyweight division that I feel like kind of sits outside the norm. And when I say that, it's heavyweight, you kind of think of like bigger guys, knockout power, can't really go into like decision fights. Kind of like the fights end kind of quicker. Cyril is one of those guys that kind of breaks all that because he's athletic, he's quick, he's big. He can do a lot of things that other heavyweights can't. And he definitely did exploit a part of Rozenstruik's game that we kind of hadn't seen in the past, right? Because you see Rozenstruik as a guy who knocks people out, and Ngannou kind of took him away. But then Cyril Gane kind of dragged him into deep waters, and he made it a boring fight to where Rozenstruik couldn't keep that same pace or intensity. That's why he lost that fight.
Yeah.
But those are not bad losses to have on your record.
Yeah.
I mean, you lost to the champ, who's like the next best thing at heavyweight right now that everyone's praising, and then you lost to possibly the title contender for that title fight. So
for sure.
I'm not going to knock him for that. I think he puts away Sakai pretty early. But Sakai is an animal too, though. I think Sakai is one of those guys who's in the top 5 for sure.
So are we going to just brush away the fact that he has 12 years of kickboxing and lost to a guy who just came into the UFC 3 years ago, I believe? His record is currently like 9-0 or 8-0 in the UFC.
Cyril's?
And he lost. Yeah.
Well, we all have bad nights. I think that he got his rusty one out the way. He just got knocked out viciously before that, right? So I feel like that Cyril Gane fight was kind of his like, all right, whatever. Let me get back into it. I feel like that's his one rusty one.
Okay, so you're saying his fight is like a version of Francis Ngannou's versus Derek Lewis. Let me lose like Francis, how he lost to Derek Lewis after fighting Stipe, and then he comes back and kills everyone.
Yeah, I think it's similar to that because with the Francis loss, I mean, look, Francis came up knocking out everyone, right? He runs into Stipe, who's this guy who can kind of negate some stuff, took him down and put an emphasis on put a blueprint on how to beat Ngannou. It was that cardio and that wrestling. He went in there, he fixed that part of his game. He came out the second fight and completely negated the takedowns from Stipe. And then Ngannou's second loss to Derek Lewis, it was the same thing. It was a guy he couldn't put away. He had to go into the deep waters. He didn't really have the cardio for it. And Derek Lewis ended up winning that fight on decision. I think those two fights made him a better fighter. I think it really made him work on his game a lot more. He kind of realized like, oh shit, like I'm not gonna knock everyone out. Like I have to be more well-rounded. And I mean, it's definitely shown in that championship fight he had. So I think it's the same thing for Rozenstruik. I think those two losses on his record is gonna make him a better fighter in the long term of things. It's gonna teach him a lot. And I think he's gonna come back strong on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I had Rozenstruik on this one too. I like the under on this one as well. I think this one can definitely be stopped for sure. It's under 1.5.
Sakai, the way he fights
kind of the same.
Like the way the Sakai kind of fights. I mean, he's down to trade some blows. You know what I'm saying? He's not the type of guy to shy away or try to take you down right away. He'll trade, and it kind of fits right into Rozenstruik's game.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like the under too.
If I'm Sakai, I think I'm working more the ground.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too.
Working more ground and pound, kind of riding his back. Because
Sakai,
I can see Rozenstruik getting tired out and kind of getting beat up a little bit. Because that's what happened with the Gane fight, right?
Yeah, but
I think in the Gane fight, I think he honestly got very frustrated. He wasn't able to land his strikes. he wasn't able to really ever really do much. So I think he got really frustrated and kind of gave up towards the championship rounds, I want to say.
Okay, so and I feel like Augusto's the type of guy to be chill the entire time. If you watch his fights, he's always just chill. Even when he's losing, he's still just like in the game. You know, he doesn't get frustrated. I see him being more of the fresher fighter. If Sakai is to win, I feel like he's going to do it through his composure and he's going to use his ground game. But
for sure,
I just don't think he's going to have that chin to take a shot from Rozenstruik. Really, that's just my opinion. It'll be similar to what happened. It could be similar to what happened in the Overeem fight. It really, for me, it all depends who has the better mindset. That for me right now, that's what I think it is. Whoever comes with a better mindset, whoever comes ready to fight, ready to win, that's who will take it. Nonetheless, the physical abilities and their skill set, I think it's going to be more of like who's more in the game.
I mean, these are all good assessments. I think we have a fun night of fights in store for us. Definitely some fights that are going to put some people on the map there. Definitely some fights that can put some people out of the UFC.
This is a fun little fight card. I like little fight cards like this. You know, just and no diss to anyone on the card. You know, this is going to be more one for the fans, I feel like. But if you look at it, man, we got some important fights. I think really quick, I want to highlight the Santiago fight's really important because these are two guys that can definitely make some movement in their weight class. Also the Walt Harris one, that's a dramatic one because it's kind of a make or break it for Harris. And then Tybura, he's always been in the mix, never really been in that top contender spot. This could be his chance.
After this, yeah,
this could be his chance.
4-5 winning streak.
And then it's kind of same for the main event for Rozenstruik. I think this is his chance to kind of get back in the mix. But Sakai is, I don't think there's any lose for him. He's still new. It's a win-win. I think Rozenstruik needs to win, as where Sakai just needs to show up and put a good performance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely a fun night of fights. So if you guys are going to tune in, this fight's going to be on Saturday, June 5th. Western time it does. The prelims do start at 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus over at the UFC Apex, which is located here in Las Vegas. Main event does start at 4 p.m. Definitely tune in and let us know what you think about these fight predictions. Leave a comment below if you think we're right. Let us know if you think you're wrong and why you think we're wrong. Who's going to win? What makes them? What ability do they have that stands out to you and why they're going to win? Other than that, thank you so much for watching this video and have a good rest of your day, guys.